Hello everybody, Terry back again, another video. Yeah guys, today's video is going to be about, of course, this year's first Grand Slam tournament that is just around the corner, 2022, who will be starting about 2-3 days from now. And like always guys, I like to do a preview when it comes to big tournaments, and I like to do a top 8 favorite list. And you know the routines guys, the number 8 spot is the least likely player to win it. But can do it, that's why his name is there, and the number 1 player is the most likely player to win it. And of course, top 3 is the players I believe the most. And if I'm not mistaken, all my previous years when I've done top 8 players who will win the big events, especially when it comes to majors, every single time one of the top 3 players that I've had on my list have won that particular Grand Slam tournament. Other than Grand Slams, Masters, it has happened somebody to win it outside top 3, but never in the slams. Alright guys, without any further ado, because I'm in a hurry, I need to go to work soon, I will do a top 8 favorite list. Let's start with number 8. On number 8 place guys, I can't believe I'm saying his name, to be quite honest, but I will put him there. He has a big game, he's very talented, even though he is in his end of his career because he is 35 years old, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a shot maker, and I'm liking his draw, and he just recently won a tournament in the beginning of the year. And the player I'm talking about, guys, is who I call very often a clown, and the player I'm talking about is Gael Monfils, guys. Gael Monfils is on my 8th spot. I like his draw, I like his game, especially on the beginning of the year. He usually plays good tennis on the beginning of the year, and then after February he usually collapses. But this early on, he can play good tennis, and I'm putting him on my 8th spot. I think he can make it to a quarter. He has Korea on as possibly first round opponent, then Bublik. He can face Bublik in the second round, then he can face Garin in the third round, and we all know that Garin, he's not successful in these fast surfaces like hard court. His best surface is clay, so I'm not counting that Garin will do a deep run here. So I'm putting Gael Monfils on my 8th spot. I think he can make it. That maybe is a long shot, but I'm putting him there. Let's see if he can deliver or not. Alright guys, let's go to the number 7 place. On number 7 place guys, I have Felix Auger-Aliassime. Felix Auger-Aliassime guys, he played his first quarterfinal. I don't know, it was not his first I think, but he did good 2 deep runs last year. A quarterfinal appearance at Wimbledon and a semi-final appearance at US Open last year. Even though he has never won a title, he has lost all of his 8 ATP Tour final that he has played. He has potential, guys. He just won the ATP Cup with his Canada, even though it was not a single event, it was a team event. But still, he is coming in with confidence. I'm liking his draw, I'm liking his game. He has started to improve his game, he has started to improve his backhand, he started to improve his returns. His shot selection is getting better and better, because we all know guys, in the past his shot selection was horrible. So I'm a little high on Felix Auger-Aliassime at the moment, little high, not crazy high, but so I am deciding to have him on my number 7 place on this top 8 list. I'm liking his draw. Russovori in the first round, he should come through that one. Then he can face in the second round Davidovich Fokina, not an impossible task there either. In the third round he can face Evans or Popyrin. Popyrin, we all know he can take out any player's racket out of their hands with this big serve and big forehand. But Felix Auger-Aliassime, he has shown some consistency level of late, so I'm putting him on my 7th place. Alright, well, we go on guys. On my 6th place, I'm putting the hard-hitting Italian stallion, if we can call him, Jannik Sinner, the look-alike Thomas Berdych. I usually call Jannik Sinner the new version of Thomas Berdych, with big forehand, big backhand, not the biggest serve. He can and he should serve better than he does. That's why he has not done a big breakthrough yet, even though he has won a couple of small events, but he has not won any big events yet, Jannik Sinner. But he's still young and he has time on his side. He has a big game. He hits the ball tremendously hard. So I put Jannik Sinner on my 6th place. I think he can do a run here, guys. I'm liking his draw. He doesn't have a brutal hard draw. Sosa first round. That should not be difficult to come through. Then he can. His first test, I think, can be a 3rd round clash with Andy Murray. Andy Murray, who by the way is super dangerous and just recently won a tournament in... No, not won a tournament. He's in a final in Sydney. And maybe will win that final. So Jannik Sinner for sure can lose the 3rd round against Andy Murray if Andy Murray wins these both 2 matches, which I think he will. So that will be Jannik Sinner's first test in the 3rd round. But I think Jannik Sinner, he's ready. He's ready to do a deep run here at the Australian Open. That is my feeling, but you never know. So I have Jannik Sinner on my 6th place. On my 5th place, I have a 20-time Grand Slam champion. And by now you know who that player is. It is not Federer, of course, who is not playing. It is not Novak Djokovic, who most likely will not play the Australian Open. I hope I'm wrong. Who just got his visa cancelled for the 2nd time, like we all know. The player I'm talking about, guys, is Rafael Nadal. I don't have him higher than this, but I have him the highest of all my quarterfinal candidates. And the reason why I have him the highest is because of all my quarterfinal candidates, I believe in Rafael Nadal the most. Some other tennis YouTubers, they believe he will lose before the quarterfinals, like against Hubert Hurkacz. I'm not one of them. I trust Rafa Nadal's consistency level. I know that Rafa will never beat himself. Somebody needs to put a great effort and beat him. Rafa is not an Santa Claus. He will not give you any Christmas presents for free. You need to be the Grinch and take the victory out of him. And I don't see that none of his 4 opponents can do that. That is my feeling. You never know. So I have Rafa as on my 5th place. I'm liking his draw, Giron. No, I'm not liking his draw. He has actually a pretty tough draw. Not the first round. Giron, who is a pretty horrible player. Rafa will just give him the hammer. He will just take him down like a boxer and knock him out straight sets. I will just only count the games like 6-2, 6-3, 6-2. Rafa will lose 5, 6, 7 games as most against Giron, I believe. But then the tough path starts for Rafa. In the 2nd round, he can face a hard hitter like Kokkinakis. If Kokkinakis wins his 1st round, we all know Kokkinakis has a huge forehand, huge serve, not the greatest backhands and returns, like 90% of the ATP Tour. What is 90% of the ATP Tour Achilles heels? Returns, backhand. And Kokkinakis is one of those 90% of the tennis players with those big Achilles heel backhand and returns. So, and if you want to take out Rafa, you need to have a great backhand. We all know that Rafa loves to breaking down his opponent's backhand, and Kokkinakis, he will not protect it in the backhand. So I think Rafa will break down that backhand against Kokkinakis. And the 3rd round, he can face Khachanov. Khachanov is a better version than Kokkinakis, in my opinion, with big serve, big forehand, but not the biggest backhand and returns. And he does a lot of errors, Khachanov as well. So I think the same game style and game plan will be for Rafa against Khachanov, like against Kokkinakis, breaking down the Russians' backhand. So I don't think these 3 opponents will take Rafa Nadal down. Rafa's first test will come probably against Hubert Hurkacz. They have never faced each other, so you don't know how they will match up. But I think that Rafa will be too much for Hubert Hurkacz. Hubert Hurkacz can take 1, maybe even 2 sets. But I don't think Hubert Hurkacz will take 3 sets against Rafa Nadal. Hubert Hurkacz has a solid game. We all know he has won 1 master title in his career, Miami Masters. But Rafa Nadal, man, he's such a consistency machine. Yeah, I know he's 35 years old. He's not as good, not as consistent as before. But he still can play tennis, guys. He still can play tennis. He will not win this tournament. I will be really surprised if he won this tournament. But I don't think he will lose against his 4 first opponents. That is my feeling. I don't think so. Maybe I will be wrong. Rafa is in my 5th place. On my 4th place, I have a hard-hitting Italian player who has a tremendous big forehand and serve, and who this surface should really suit him. Even though he is inconsistent as well, like 90% of the ATP Tour. Who is consistent, by the way? Who is consistent? All the players who are not named Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, all of them are inconsistent, more or less, guys. So, but anyway, on my 5th place, I have Matteo Berrettini. On my 4th place, I mean, not 5th place. On my 4th place, I have Matteo Berrettini. He should do a good run here. I'm liking his draw. Nakashima in the first round. That should not be big trouble. Then Vesely in the second round. That should not be big trouble either. Then he can face the third round Alcaraz or Fusovic. Here Berrettini will be tested against Alcaraz or Fusovic. Whoever of those 2 players comes to that third round, because I think one of them will come to that third round, Alcaraz or Fusovic. There Berrettini will have his hands full. Whoever of those 2 he faces, not Alcaraz or Fusovic. We all know Fusovic is a ball striker, clean ball striker, and who hits the ball pretty good, pretty decent, moves good, has good touch with his hands on the net. So, and Alcaraz, he's a big hitter. We all know Alcaraz did a great run in last year's US Open and took himself to a quarterfinal there. But I think that Matteo Berrettini, with this big heavy hitting with the forehand and serve, his backhand is not the greatest, his returns are not the greatest, but for once he will most likely avoid Novak Djokovic, because we all know that he has been facing Novak Djokovic in 3 straight majors: French Open, Wimbledon and US Open, and he has lost, of course, in all those 3 straight majors last year: French Open, Wimbledon and US Open. But now he most likely will avoid Novak Djokovic because Novak has got his visa cancelled the second time. But I hope I'm wrong. I really hope Novak gets the chance to win his second overruling and play the tournament. So Berrettini is in my 4th place. I think Berrettini will take himself to a semi-final on my 4th place. On my 3rd place, I have the young, talented Greek with a look-alike tennis style like Roger Federer, with a one single-handed backhand, with pretty heavy forehand, with a lot of shot tolerance from that forehand. Not a lot, but I mean net clearance. He doesn't hit his forehand super flat a la Daniil Medvedev. So he has pretty good net clearance, and so he can cut down his unforced errors. We all know Stefanos' weaknesses, which is backhand and returns. But Stefanos Tsitsipas has played good tennis in the past at Australian Open. I think he has 2 semi-finals appearances in the past, lost both of them. And I think that he can make it a 3rd time and play a 3rd Australian Open semi-final here at 2022 Australian Open tournament in Melbourne. I'm liking his draw. Auger-Aliassime, not the most difficult first round opponent. Then Ramos he can face in the second round. Then Dimitrov in the 3rd, if Dimitrov makes it so far, so deep, which you never know. Dimitrov is an inconsistency machine. So Tsitsipas has a pretty good draw. So I'm counting for Tsitsipas to make a deep run here. Will he make it to the semi-final? I believe so. Am I sure? Of course not. You can never be sure in tennis matches. The margins are laser slim. Alright, on my 2nd place, guys. This is the runner-up, guys. So this player I will mention on the 2nd place is the player I think will go to the final, guys. Because we all know the routines. 4th and 3rd place goes to the semi-finals, and 2nd and 1st place goes to the finals. And 8 to 5 to quarterfinals. On my 2nd place, guys, I have Alexander Sasha Zverev. I think that he will do a deep run here. He really wants to win his first major badly. He has played 1 Grand Slam final in the past, back in 2020, when he was only 2 points away of winning the US Open final against Dominic Thiem, but couldn't do it. And I think he really wants to win his first Grand Slam title here at Australian Open, and the path has opened his way now that most likely Djokovic will be out that Djokovic will be out will give these top players a lot of boost, like Zverev, like Medvedev, like Nadal. Even though that it was not for certain that Djokovic would have won the tournament, even if he plays, it is definitely not for certain that he would have won. But that he's not competing, most likely, his top shift rivals like Zverev, Medvedev, Nadal, Tsitsipas, they are not crying. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that, guys. So I have Zverev on my second place. I think I'm liking his draw. Altmaier, a German dude I've never heard about. That will not be any trouble whatsoever. In the second round, we can face Millman or Lopez. We all know Lopez. He's finished more or less. If Lopez even beats Millman in the first round, and if Millman beats Lopez, and it is vice versa, I don't think that Millman takes out Zverev. Zverev, when he has his serve going, he can be unbreakable, guys. The problem with Zverev is he can do a lot of double faults. Not sometimes, he has done that the last 2 years, but in the end of the last year, he started to figure out his second serve, so he's not double faulting as much as he did, say, 6 months ago. So Zverev, when he's going with that first serve, when his first serve is going in, he's unbreakable more or less, and he has decent ground strokes, but both backhand and forehand, especially backhand. He moves good to be that tall of a dude. And he has great shot tolerance. He can play baseline rallies. He doesn't mind playing baseline rallies as well. So Zverev, I think, will do a deep round here. The third round, he can face. In the fourth round, he can face Harris or Shapo. That can be a challenge for Zverev. Definitely Shapo can take him out in the fourth round. I will not be shocked. But I'm holding Zverev as my second favorite in this 2022 Australian Open tournament. I think he will do a deep round. He's inconsistent. He's hungry. He's motivated. He's dedicated. He has one of the best serves in the world. His first serve, I should say, his second serve is not always the best. So I think Zverev can take himself to a final here. So I have him on my second place. Alright, guys, we have only one spot left, and that is the number one spot. And by now you have figured out which player I will have up on my number one spot, and that is the Russian bear Daniil Medvedev, the most recently Grand Slam winner. We all know he won US Open last year. He's the world number 2. He has played Australian Open final before, which he did last year, and lost 3 straight sets against a very, very great playing Novak Djokovic, who did a great final last year with great depth. If I remember correctly, Novak did a great match in last year's Australian Open final with unbelievable depth, and Medvedev didn't do his best match of his life. Let's be honest. And Medvedev will most likely avoid Novak Djokovic this time around if Novak will not play the Australian Open, which is what everything is, which is looking like that Novak will not play. And Medvedev, he has a good draw. He can face Laaksonen in the first round, no any trouble there. Kyrgios in the second round. In the third, he can play against Humbert. And that is Medvedev's first test. Humbert, because I think Humbert has beaten Medvedev twice. But never in a major event. Never in Grand Slam tournament. Those 2 victories that Humbert has had against Medvedev, it has been in 3 sets matches. Will Humbert take Medvedev out in a 5-set match? I don't think so. But you never know. It is tennis. Like I said, the margins are laser thin. That will be, anyway, Medvedev's first test. Hugo Humbert in the third round. And then in the fourth, he can face Isner or Diego Schwartzman. If Diego takes himself to that fourth round, which I doubt that he will. Diego Schwartzman is not a good, hard, fast court player. Diego Schwartzman's best surface is, like we all know, clay. Most likely, Medvedev will face Isner in the fourth round. Most likely. But even if it is Isner, I don't think Isner takes Medvedev out in the fourth round. And for sure, Schwartz will not do that in the fourth round if Diego takes himself to that fourth round. So there you have, guys. I think Medvedev wins his second Grand Slam title. The quarterfinal matches will be Zverev against Nadal. I think Zverev beats Nadal. Monfils against Berrettini. I think Berrettini takes out Monfils. Tsitsipas against Sinner, I think Tsitsipas takes out Sinner. Medvedev against Felix, I think Medvedev takes out Felix. The semifinals will be between Medvedev and Tsitsipas. I think Medvedev takes out Tsitsipas in the semifinal. And then Zverev against Berrettini, I think Zverev takes out Berrettini in the other semifinal. And the final will be between Medvedev and Zverev. And I think Medvedev takes out Zverev in that Australian Open final 2 weeks from now. And then some dark horses. Andy Murray, Alcaraz, and why not Nick Kyrgios? Nick Kyrgios, Andy Murray, Carlos Alcaraz, my 3 dark horses that I'm putting in. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, see you next time, peace!